Hey, you, yes, you, there's something you need to hear, and it might just change everything. You're not stuck because you're unworthy. You're not blocked because you're not enough. You're stuck because you're holding on too tightly. That thing you're chasing, whether it's love, success, or that one moment you think will finally make you whole. It's slipping further away because you're gripping it with desperation. But here's the truth that can set you free. The less you need, the more you attract. Welcome to WisdomWavesAura, where we're diving deep into what it means to let go without giving up, to want without clinging, and to live with a calm, magnetic energy that pulls what's meant for you closer. If this resonates, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it's simple, and it helps us keep sharing messages like this that bring you back to what truly matters. Let's get into it. You want something deeply? Maybe it's a relationship that feels like home, a career that rewards your hustle, or just a moment of clarity that whispers, yes, this is it. That kind of desire isn't wrong, it's human. It's the spark that pushes us to grow, to show up, to care. Desire is the seed of every dream. But somewhere along the way, that pure wanting can cross a line. It shifts from inspiration to dependence, from a fire that fuels you to a weight that drags you down. Suddenly, you're not just walking toward your goals, you're chasing them with an anxious, trembling grip, convinced you'll fall apart without them. You're not asking life for possibilities anymore, you're begging it to save you. And the harder you hold on, the more things slip through your fingers. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." That's exactly what happens when you need something too much. The more you crave it, the more resistance you create, not just in the world around you, but inside yourself. You get tense, reactive, drained. It's not because what you want is out of reach. It's because your desperation is building walls between you and what's meant for you. There's a quiet paradox in life. Nothing aligned with your peace will ever come through panic. True alignment doesn't force its way in. It doesn't beg to be seen. It arrives in stillness, not struggle. What's truly meant for you won't ask you to grip it until your knuckles turn white. It'll stay not because you chased it, but because you're ready to hold it with calm, open hands. But when you're caught in need, calm is the first thing to go. You start overanalyzing silences, reading too deeply into every delay. You're not listening to your life anymore. You're interrogating it, demanding answers it's not ready to give. In that noise, you lose the one thing that could guide you back: clarity. Plato taught that the first and best victory is to conquer self. But how can you conquer yourself when you're ruled by what you think you lack? That's the danger of need. It blinds you. It blinds you to what you already have, to the opportunities waiting for your attention, to the power you already are. You could be surrounded by care, by potential, by moments ready to bloom. But if your mind is fixed on what's missing, you won't feel any of it. It becomes a loop. You need more to feel okay, so you chase more, but the chase only the idea that you're not okay as you are. The more you search for peace outside yourself, the further it slips away. And even when you get the thing, the job, the relationship, the moment you thought would fix everything, you can't relax into it. You're too afraid it'll leave, too convinced you didn't earn it. That's what need does. It makes even the wind feel unsafe. So, what's the way out? It starts with releasing the grip, not giving up, not detaching in some cold, lifeless way, but letting go of the story that says, you're not whole unless something or someone completes you. Socrates said, "He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have." Contentment isn't settling, its power. It's the kind of stillness that makes room for what's real to enter. When you stop chasing, you start inviting. When you stop gripping, you start receiving. There's a calm energy that emerges when you no longer need everything to go your way to feel okay. That calm doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. You're no longer reacting to life from fear. You're responding from trust. That's the difference most people never learn. You don't attract peace by needing it to attract peace by becoming the kind of person who doesn't panic in its absence. That's when things shift. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you stop getting in your own way. As Aristotle put it, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. When you see how your need has been building your prison, you also see the door. That door is presence, openness, a willingness to let life flow instead of trying to script every scene. You don't lose your ambition, you just stop making your worth depend on its timeline. You don't stop wanting love, you just stop confusing attention with affection. You don't stop dreaming, you just stop believing the dream has to come true this week, or you're not enough. In that space, life changes. Not because you demanded more, but because you made space for it, space for joy that doesn't come with strings, space for stillness that feels safe. The less you need, the more you receive, not because you stopped caring, but because you remembered you were whole all along. Think about it. When you convince yourself you need that job, that text, that approval to feel okay, your whole system goes into survival mode. You tense up, overthink every move, second-guess yourself. You start giving more than you have, pouring energy into places that don't pour back. You chase conversations that were never meant to hold you. You check your phone like it owes you peace, and each time it stays silent, you don't just feel ignored, you feel invisible. But here's the twist. The universe doesn't respond to your desperation, it responds to your energy. When your energy is full of anxiety, panic, and lack, life mirrors it back. The more you try to force something, the more resistance you create. It's like trying to catch water with a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the less you hold. What's meant for you doesn't survive in an atmosphere of fear. It blooms in stillness, in calm, open hands, ready to receive, not desperate to control. That shift isn't loud or dramatic. It starts the moment you stop chasing and start trusting. Ever finally get what you were begging for, only to feel more insecure once it arrives? You land the job you prayed for, but suddenly you're doubting if you deserve it. Every task feels like a test, every meeting like a trap. You were sure this would bring peace, but now you're restless, looking over your shoulder, wondering how long it'll last. Or maybe it's that text from someone you couldn't stop thinking about. They finally respond, but instead of relief, there's tension. You reread their words, scan for hidden meanings, overanalyze their tone. You're not enjoying the connection, you're preparing for it to disappear. This is what happens when you receive from a place of need. You don't truly receive, you grasp. You hold on too tightly, stop breathing around it, scared it'll vanish if you let your guard down. The thing that was supposed to make you feel whole ends up making you feel more fragile. It's not because the thing itself is wrong. The energy you brought to it, you weren't ready to receive with openness. You were looking to fill a hole, Jung said. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. When you operate from need, you're reacting to a deeper wound. You think the job, the partner, the praise is what you need. But what you're really starving for is inner peace, stability, self-worth. So when the external thing arrives, it can't fully land because you're still looking to it to fix something it was never meant to fix. When you grip the outcome, you turn the gift into pressure. What felt like a blessing becomes a burden. The joy fades, replaced by anxiety. You're not grateful, it's not enough. You're not relaxed, on edge. This cycle repeats, not because you don't get what you want, but because you haven't learned to hold what you receive without fear. Socrates believed the unexamined life is not worth living. That reflection isn't just philosophical, practical. When you pause and notice how much of your tension comes from fear of loss, you see how that fear keeps you from living. You weren't born to chase moments just to lock them in a cage. You were born to experience them, to feel them fully, to let them breathe. Real receiving comes from stillness, from trust, from a grounded place that says, I am enough, with or without this. When you reach that place, everything shifts. You no longer need to control the outcome because you trust yourself to stay steady no matter what. The gift becomes lighter, the moment richer. You don't hoard experiences, you welcome them and let them go without falling apart. Plato taught that the greatest wealth is to live content with little. That doesn't mean you stop desiring, it means you stop building your identity on what arrives. You find your center within, and when something beautiful comes, you hold it with grace, not fear. You honor it, but don't worship it. You stay rooted, and from that space, what's meant for you begins to stay, not because you held tighter, but because you no longer needed to. So, what do? Stop grasping. Stop running after every sign, every hint, every sliver of possibility like it's your only shot at peace. Open your hands, breathe, let the moment settle without forcing what comes next. The less you need, the more life has space to deliver, not because it suddenly becomes more generous, but because you become more open. There's no longer a wall of tension between you and what's trying to reach you. This isn't about pretending you don't care or giving up on your dreams. It's about letting go of the story that says, if I don't have this, I'm not enough. Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Stop putting your peace in things that change, people who leave, plans that shift. When that story dissolves, you become magnetic, not because you're trying harder, but because you're no longer working against yourself. You stop forcing doors open. Stop knocking on windows that were never yours. Life begins to come to you, the opportunities that match your peace. The people who see your depth, the experiences that feel like alignment, not survival. Aristotle said happiness depends upon ourselves. That's the clarity you find. You're not waiting for permission to feel content or for the universe to greenlight your worth. You live in a way that says, whether it comes or not, I know who I am. That's where your power lives, not in how loud you shout, but in how still you can be when the world is silent. Letting go of need doesn't make you weaker, it makes you wiser. It teaches you to stay centered in your own value instead of outsourcing it to outcomes or timelines. From that place, calm, grounded, quietly sure of who you rue, don't just attract more, you receive it fully. You enjoy it, hold it with ease, instead of fear. Plato believed the measure of a man is what he does with power. But real power is when you no longer need anything to feel powerful. That's when the world starts responding not to your fear, but to your stillness. Ask yourself, when you say you want something, what's driving it? Is it inspiration or fear? Are you reaching for love because you're full and ready to share, or because you're terrified of being alone? Are you chasing success because you're excited to grow, or because a voice whispers you're not enough without it? The energy behind your actions changes everything, Jung said. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. If you don't examine what's fueling your pursuit, you'll think life is unfair. When it's just reflecting your inner world, the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state. When your energy is panic, you create experiences that match it. You might get the job but feel like you're always proving yourself. You might find the relationship but fear it's one bad day from falling apart. Panic doesn't build peace, it builds pressure. But when your energy is calm, when you move from inner peace, you don't stop wanting you, just stop demanding. You still desire connection but aren't afraid of your own company. You pursue excellence but aren't running from shame. That's when alignment begins, when you start receiving in ways that feel natural, not forced. Plato said the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. That mastery isn't about controlling others, it's about understanding your own behavior, noticing when you're trying to earn love through performance or outrun fear with constant movement. When you catch that pattern and choose presence over panic, you take your power back. This isn't just philosophy, it's practical. The difference between a life that flows and one that feels like a constant uphill climb comes down to the energy behind what you want. Peaceful intention opens doors. Desperate effort slams them shut. Not because life is cruel, but because alignment can't be rushed. It's recognized, received. So, before you chase your goals, pause. Feel the engine behind them. If it's fear, tend to that first. If it's emptiness, start there. Aristotle believed knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. When you know yourself deeply, you create from love, not lack from fullness, not hunger. The things that come from that place don't just arrive, they stay. You've been taught to grind harder, push more, hustle until it hurts. The world screams that success belongs to those who outwork everyone else. Effort matters. Discipline has its place. But at some point, all that pressure starts working against you. You're moving, yes, but from tension, not trust. What if the real shift isn't about doing more, but doing less from the right place? Less overthinking, less proving, less bending over backward to be validated. You don't realize how much energy goes into trying to earn space you already deserve. You perform in conversations, manage your image, replay your actions like you're on trial for being human. That's the cost of need, it steals your presence. And when you lose presence, you lose your power. Socrates said, to find yourself, think for yourself. But when you're caught in the loop of needing to be seen, heard, or approved of, you forget how to think for yourself. You live as a version that pleases others, not the one that reflects your truth. That effort feels hollow, but when you let go of that need, something beautiful happens. You show up differently. You speak softly, but your words carry weight. You move slower, but everything aligns. You're not chasing connection, yet people are drawn to you. That's not magic, that's presence. And presence doesn't shout or beg, it just is. Jung wrote, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. You can't become that if you're twisting yourself into knots to be what the world wants. When you stop needing to be seen, you become impossible to ignore. Your energy no longer leaks from lack. You walk into a room and don't need to explain yourself. Your peace does the talking. You're not here to prove. You're here to be. That's the Wisdom Waves Aura, wayfinding clarity in a noisy world. If this spoke to you, there's another video waiting to take you deeper. Give it your time, your peace is worth it. Thank you for being here, for being part of Wisdom Waves. Come back when the world gets loud. We'll be here quiet, steady, and always real.